It's game on for the Miami Hurricanes this week. Canes fans, the entire season on the line this Saturday afternoon inside the once familiar confines of the Carrier Dome at Syracuse, where Miami through the years had so many really up and down moments. Obviously the championship years were all great, but I remember sitting in the Carrier Dome for the last game of the Donovan McNabb era. The place was absolutely insane, and the Hurricanes got blown out that day. And then the next week came back and upset UCLA, the twists and turns of college football. Well, we don't know quite what the atmosphere is going to be like this Saturday, but this is the pass that Miami received when it stumbled in Atlanta a couple weeks ago at Georgia Tech, losing to the Yellow Jackets and basically putting themselves kind of back to the pack, so to speak, at the top end of the ACC. It's very simple. Miami wins at Syracuse this weekend. It wins a tiebreaker with Clemson to go to the championship game in Charlotte next week, where they would meet an SMU team that took care of its own business. So regardless of what happens in SMU's season finale this weekend, they will be in Charlotte. Listen, a date in Charlotte with SMU would come with even bigger stakes. And that, of course, is a berth in the inaugural college football playoff. But as we begin this edition of CaneSport Live tonight, a lot of the college football world is on edge, waiting for the rankings to come out, the college football playoff rankings, to see just where they stand in the eyes of the committee and whether they might have a chance to get their own invitation to participate in the 12-team playoff this season. It's a lot more elementary for Miami, a lot better, quite frankly, because all the Hurricanes have to do is win. They beat Syracuse, they beat SMU, they're in the playoff. They lose to Syracuse, they're not even in the ACC championship game. They lose the ACC championship game, and then they are at the mercy of that committee, whether it still chooses to include what would then be a 2-loss Miami in the playoff. So if you love the adrenaline rush of all this, what comes with all this drama, then this week is for you. Miami is coming off a bit of a bizarre Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium, that victory over Wake Forest, where it was a nail-biting one-score game in the middle of the fourth quarter. And then, of course, the Canes turned on the juice and one going away and basically told the college football world, we are capable of better than where we were early in the fourth quarter. But let's be honest, Canes have not always passed the eye test of a top 10 team at every moment this season, but they're here. They're in the end of November, Thanksgiving weekend, with their fate entirely in their hands. You know, what more can you ask for, really, than that? So Wake Forest, the Syracuse game, the moment. We're going to talk about all of it tonight as we begin this new edition of CaneSport Live. And hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, and we welcome you again to your show, The People Show, CaneSport Live. As always, this is your show. It'll be driven by your participation. If you want to come on the show and you haven't already sort of pre-registered with us, I am going to put the information up on the screen for you there. All you got to do is send us an email at canesport@yahoo.com. We'll send you an invitation into the studio, and then we bring you on the show in the order that you land in the studio. Matt Shodell will be joining me once again tonight. So let's get the party started by going to Matt himself, who we got to wake him up over there. He looks like he's dozing off on us here this evening. Matt, welcome back to your favorite show of the week. One of many, but without a doubt, the highlight of your existence, CaneSport Live, where you get to visit with some of our friends and set us up tonight. What are your thoughts on all of the different elements that I brought up there in that eloquently written and read open?
I mean, dozing off is a close second to being on this show for sure. It's a weird sense I get. It's almost like fans are waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like there's not that much. It doesn't feel like there's that much excitement. I don't know. I mean, we have plenty of posts on the message boards, but it's not like I can't believe how great this team is. I'm so excited to beat Syracuse and go to the.
What are you talking about? I'm watching Kane Kane bouncing off the walls at his job. I'm watching Greg doing jumping jacks in his living room. I'm watching Jake pound liters of wine, getting ready to come on the show. Who else? I see BK Hurricane anxiously waiting to come on. There's a lot of excitement. What are you talking about?
I mean, they're excited to trash me, not to be excited about the Hurricanes, but there's this feeling out there that this is still a not for real team. They're 10-1. Best chance they've had to win 11 games since 2002. I think they went to the championship game that year, not the ACC championship, mind you, the national championship, because they weren't in the ACC back then. So there's sort of this weird disconnect, and I think some of it. I talked to some of my friends out there, and they're actually disheartened by NIL and the transfer portal. It's not. They don't get the same enjoyment from college football. They feel like it's rooting for a professional team, but it's like different players every year. Like, for instance, Mario takes 15 transfers a year, let's say, or it's been, 13 or 14 on average. They're gone after a year. They're like hired mercenaries, It's like Russia taking North Koreans to fight the war for them. Like, we don't need people. We shouldn't need people to fight the war for us. And it's almost like you're rooting for a Michigan State guy to do well. You're rooting for, like, they picked other programs. Miami fans always get excited about guys that love Miami, that always wanted to be a Hurricane, that were dying for that Miami offer. They don't exist anymore, it doesn't seem like. And I think there's just some sense of resignation to this is sort of the new normal, that these players don't love Miami the way fans love Miami. The players don't love FSU, Florida, Ohio State, Alabama the way the fans love those programs, and it's disheartening. And I don't think it's wrong, but I do think it's wrong that fans aren't more excited. The team's 10-1, and they act like the team's, another 7-6 team, 7-5 team. Like, I don't see any real difference in the enthusiasm level to where it should be. Obviously they're not complaining as much. Okay, that's great. Lack of complaints, but I don't see the the really profound sense of where, there's no we're back posts, right? There's no we've finally done it. There's no Mario Cristobal is the savior post. You don't see any of that because I don't think fans are ready to trust themselves after so many fits and starts over the last 20 years where they think it's there and it's not. If you give a dog a treat to his face every day and pull it away, the dog eventually is going to stop even reaching for the treat. The dog's going to be like, you know what? I don't think I'm actually going to get it this time. And I think fans have this feeling that the rug's going to get pulled out under their feet, either in Syracuse or in North Carolina. And if not, I think they have a feeling they're going to get blown out in the first game of the playoffs. Like, there's this weird, like, doom and gloom. Like, it's just going to happen again, because it's happened for 22 years. You've pulled the treat out of the Miami Hurricane dog's mouth for 22 straight years after having high expectations in the preseason or a good start or a 10-0 start. And, like, the fans have been beaten down, man. And it's sad to see. Like, it is sad to see because I covered this team when they were winning national championships. And I know what the mood was back then. I know the aura around not the players in the program, but around the fan base. It was like, good luck trying to beat us, we're going to kick your butts. And now it's like, I hope they don't kick our butts. That's the new mentality of the fan. And I don't think it's going to change until, honestly, Miami's had multiple years of success with homegrown talent instead of paid mercenaries. That's just my feeling on talking to my friends and just sort of knowing the message boards the way they have been, are, and can be.
It's funny, and I never agree with you, but I'm kind of like in the middle on this. I was talking to somebody at Tennessee today about this subject, and everybody around the country who is involved in college football is kind of seeing the same thing. It's not the same. It's just not, and it's not just Miami. It's all around the country. People are going to the games. Attendance has been pretty good this year. And the Miami road crew that's been going to these games on the road has been as good as ever. I mean, Miami is traveling right now really as well as it has in its entire history, including in the 80s and 90s when the Canes were playing for national titles. But beyond that, it doesn't seem the same. And, maybe that changes now that we're getting to the end of the season. The games are more meaningful. If you get to the ACC championship game, if you get into the playoffs, maybe people get fired up. But listen, there's some guys, like Greg or Kane Kane, they're high octane all the time. But I kind of agree with you a little bit that in terms of an entire fan base, not just at Miami, but in college football in general, they've become a little bit detached. And maybe the way these rosters are coming together has a lot to do with it. I mean, you have fans, they go to the games in September, they don't know half the damn team. They're getting to know. I mean, if they're on our website every day, they start to get to know them a little bit. But for the most part, they're getting to know the team, and it's halfway through the season before they can even tell you who the players are. So it's an interesting dynamic. But all that said, this is a big week for Miami. They have got to get this done. Going to Syracuse and unfortunately they messed up in Atlanta. So now this is do or die. If they beat Georgia Tech, this game doesn't matter. They're in Charlotte no matter what. Now this is life or death. This is a playoff game Saturday at Syracuse. And listen, they got to get it done. I mean, they just you wait so long for this opportunity. They had one chance in 2017, but they weren't really built for it then. I think they are, even though there have been some ups and downs with the defense, and even the offense has gone a little stagnant here at times lately. I think this team is built to be able to win at this time of the year, and we'll see what happens. But let's get some excitement in the room here. Can't think of any better place to go to than Kane Kane for that. So Kane Kane, welcome back.
Hey, fellas, happy holidays to y'all. You think I'm going to get loud and get crazy? Man, not tonight, man. Fuck it, I'm happy. We got a chance to beat Syracuse. We got a chance to go play SMU. Here's the only thing that's messing with my mind. Ain't no way in hell we go. SMU win. Boy, that board is going. You have to shut that damn board down. You know that, Matt. You know that, Gary. That first year, and we've been there 24, 22 years, and we don't win the ACC championship. What y'all think the explosion would be? The explosion would be epic. So, hell, it's like this. If you win, you got to beat them. If you lose, I'm just saying, I don't know. We shouldn't. We shouldn't, but we say that against Georgia Tech, too. Okay, but if it does happen, Clemson go in there and whip their ass. Don't let these clowns win this championship. And all the Miami boys on that side, Rashad Smith, Harvey. Oh, man, they'll love to get a chance to try to block us up. But, hey, other than that, man, I'm happy. They always doing the dirt with Miami, Cam Ward. He don't care about the awards, so guess what? I don't give a rat's ass either. Because there ain't no way you can kick a man out that, against the Georgia Tech game, and he wasn't in the top 5, and he barely getting recognized now. He's settled. He's cool. His favorite meal for Thanksgiving is chitlins. Hell, that man on the road, baby. He ain't playing no game. He wants to win. And that's the love that I have for the young man, because he's all about team. Damn all that other bull crap. So how do you feel, Matt? How do you feel, Garrett? Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, they got to beat Syracuse this week, but can you imagine what social media is going to be like next week if they do with all those guys, Brashard and Keyshawn and Roberts and Harvey and
the whole state of Florida.
It'll be wild, man. There'll be some smacking going on next week.
Some smacking. You'll be all right, man. How you feel? You mighty quiet. Come on, man. Suck it up and say something. Go blue crab fishing or fishing crab or blue turkey fishing. Damn it. Come on.
I asked Cam Ward today, how meaningful it was to him as a guy who was never recruited out of high school to be the first player to get the invite to the Senior Bowl. He said, I don't care about the damn Senior Bowl. I'm like, I hope the Senior Bowl people aren't watching this. He's all about winning. My concern is that the rest of the team needs to be all about winning because they've been so inconsistent. I get why fans are frustrated with this team, even at 10-1. People predicted before the year they'd be 10-2. They could end up 10-2. That just means you're meeting expectations. But now this 10-2 would look terrible, right? Because they don't play anybody. Like, they can't lose. If they lose to Syracuse, like, don't even go to a bowl game if you don't make the playoffs. Like, at that point, just shut the freaking program down for a year, because fans are going to be outraged at
They would be outraged, but guess what?
We having the top quarterback in the country and all these great players coming back on defense that can't perform, the best receiving core in the country, top to bottom, an NFL tight end. Like, how do you not play a top 25 team? The best team you played is Florida, and you can't even make the ACC title game. Like, at that point, what do you say? How do you excuse it if you're Mario Cristobal? How do you say, well, this is going to be better because X, Y, and Z? Like, they have to win this game. This is a program-altering game, because if you lose it, people will never believe in you for a long time until you get there. But if you win it, you're so close, right? 11 regular season wins, 11-1. So if you fall to SMU, okay. I mean, it still wouldn't be great, but it's a hell of a lot better than losing to Syracuse and being just in a bowl game.
Understood. But the only thing I'll say to that, if that did happen, is only one team I would like to play. God damn it, I love to play Colorado. You know how much money they'll make for that game? You got 2 Heisman Trophy. Well, you got Heisman, a quarterback Shador. You got Cam, both going in the draft. You got Hunter going in the draft. Oh, man, it'd be epic money on that if that would happen. But we don't want that to happen. So 2 tears in the bucket, you know the rest. I ain't got no more to say. Enjoy y'all holiday, chitlin, turkey, potato salad, mac and cheese, get fat. And damn, if we lose, don't even have a show, Gary. Just wait till 2025 and we'll ride it out. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I agree.
That's it. No more to be said or done. Like y'all, and the last thing, like right quick. Yeah, the energy for me. But like you said, these players is one and done. How much love do they have for the game? They came on a humbug. How much effort going to be put into the game? We know Cam giving his all. Like, Barron didn't play that much. Gary been saying it. They put him on the bench. I heard you ask him, was he hurt? No, he won't hurt. Well, man, we got to show him. You got to play them young boys. Moulton, golly, that boy going to be bad. He did that 360 spin move and lit that quarterback up. Woo-wee! Now, we still going to celebrate regardless. I'm gone, man. Go talk to the rest of these clowns. I got to watch my Georgetown Hoyas. Yes, I like them in basketball, not the Canes. Holla! Peace.
All right, Kane Kane. Good seeing you again. I told you he'd bring some energy.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Did you see I put it up on the screen. Darius Nobles, he agrees with you.
I don't know if he agrees, because there's a lot of laughing emojis at the end.
Well, listen, everyone has been hurt a few too many times. Here's a guy that only applies to hurt, and that's our man, Greg. Greg, welcome back to CaneSport Live. Now that we've had our inspirational moment with Kane Kane, what you got for us this week?
Okay. Matt, I got a small bone to pick with you.
Oh, shocker.
On Monday morning, you said the running back from Wake Forest had no speed. The guy was the Virginia 200-meter champion, and he ran away from us on the kickoff return. So you better check your records on that one.
He's having a bad week, Greg. He really is.
I said the Wake Forest running back had no speed? When did I say that?
Yeah, you did. Go back and check the tape from Monday.
I'll have to. I don't remember saying that. I don't remember
saying some crazy stuff lately.
I don't remember saying that. But
that's the accuracy test. I don't know what's up with him. He's a little distracted, I think.
Yeah, I do not. Okay. I didn't even analyze the Wake Forest running back, so I don't understand how you think I said that.
Go back and check and let me know next time. Okay. I wanted to know, as somebody who likes to gamble on the games, I was wondering if somebody on the Miami wanted that game to cover the other day, throwing a pass with a minute to go. What was that all about? I was happy as hell.
If you think the head coach is not aware of what the line is, you're crazy. He knows what the line is. He's out there for his Canes brothers and sisters. He knows.
All right, I'm glad. Okay, next. Matt, based on the fact that Florida just beat Ole Miss, they almost beat Georgia and Tennessee, what makes you say we can't play with the SEC?
Well, first of all, I think Florida has gotten better this year. I know that's something that might shock you, Greg. They have a different quarterback who's actually, I think, sparked the entire team. That happens sometimes.
He played in that Miami game. I hate to tell you that.
And I don't think the ACC is particularly good compared to the SEC. That's my opinion. it's very hard to quantify. Like, I can't say to you for sure because of X, Y, and Z, Miami's better than any SEC team, or better than, obviously they're better than Florida, right? Because they beat Florida, but Florida can win some games in the SEC. That's great. Good for them. It doesn't mean Miami's going to beat Tennessee every time. It doesn't mean Miami's going to beat Alabama. It doesn't mean Miami's going to beat LSU, go down the list. It doesn't mean that. Just because Florida wins one game or loses one game, fans tend to take it all as, well, since we beat them and they beat them, therefore we are better than Ohio State. Like, that's not how it works, right? Because Miami lost to Georgia Tech. I'm sure there's a team in the SEC that beat Georgia Tech, that beat Florida, but Florida beat Tennessee. Like, you can go down a whole list of rabbit holes with Kevin Bacon being the 50th degree, Greg, but it doesn't make it true that Miami's better than every SEC team just because
I didn't say that.
Florida beat one of the better SEC teams. That's not how it works.
Okay. All right. Next topic. Are we going to have 105 player limit next year, or is it still going to be 85?
Probably 85, but they have to make a decision.
Yeah, that decision hasn't been made yet. So I don't know, if they're good. I assume they're going to be recruiting here with the assumption it's going to be 85.
That's exactly what they're doing. You can see how they're recruiting. They're planning on 85, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe they'll be a little fluid. Some walk-ons might get some scholarships if it gets increased. But I think you got to look at the expenses that come along with that, Greg. You got to put these kids on scholarship. If you had 20 players on scholarship at Miami, you're talking about an extra couple $1 million just on their scholarships, and that's before you house them, before you feed them, before you cover their medical expenses. And then, of course, there's going to be revenue sharing. That's another 20 kids that are going to have to participate in revenue sharing. The costs of going to that increase are enormous. I'm not sure that everybody's going to want to participate. So I think you're going to have some schools that'll stick to 85, some that'll be at 90, 95, 100. Then of course, some will go to 105. But like, what do you need 105 football players for on a college football team? I think it's absolutely absurd. They have 85 now, and half of them don't even get on the field. It's like, why do you need an extra 20 kids that you're responsible for at every level? And, we'll include behaviorally, going to class and all those things that come with it. Like, what do you need that for? Why do you need 105 players in a college football program? I hope they reverse course on that. I don't know if they will or not. I don't know what Miami's going to do. Miami's staying flexible on it. But it looks like Matt said that right now they are recruiting based on 85, and I expect that will be where they go here in the month of December, unless something changes really, really fast.
Okay. On Senior Day, were there any surprises took their roses to their mother, guys that you didn't expect to be in the line?
No, because it doesn't mean anything. If they have eligibility to come back, they could still decide to come back. Sam Brown would be an example of that. Mesidor is an example of that. Like, they could still come back. Just, they would like to go pro, but if they don't get the right evaluation, that doesn't mean they will. So Senior Day doesn't mean a ton in that regard. I wouldn't put too much stock in it. I mean, maybe you're seeing an intent there with a couple of those guys, but I don't think it's a final decision.
It's also a negotiating tactic, right? Because if you have the option to go to the NFL, they have to give you more NIL money. It's like, hey, I'll just leave. You better redo my deal. So,
okay.
Did I answer your question before about Miami and the SEC? Like, I think if Miami had Florida's schedule, just to be clear, I think Miami loses 3 or 4 games. Like, I don't know if that's what you were asking me or not, but that's what I think.
I'm saying, in a one-game situation, why can't we compete with that team?
Of course. Yeah, Miami could win one game against any SEC team. Absolutely. If the ball bounces the right way, they're not that far off at all. If they play their best game and the other team doesn't necessarily play its best game, then I think Miami wins those games. But I don't think Miami is better than the top 3 SEC teams. Like, I just don't. That's just my opinion. I think with Florida's schedule, like I just said, Miami loses 3 or 4 games with that schedule.
Okay, what happens if we win the ACC and the portal opens 2 days later? You think any players are going to leave? before the next game, which will be around December 31st?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
I mean,
they won't.
any of the starters I'm talking about.
No.
No, there's no reason. Why would they? Miami's very competitive in NIL. There's no issues there. I mean, maybe if guys go in the portal, there might be teams that try to poach them. But if a team takes a shot at a guy that's on the active roster, that's tampering. Like you're not allowed to do that. So you can't. I mean, obviously there's under the table deals and stuff that take place, but no, I don't think you'll see guys that are starters or rotation guys on this team leave right before the college football playoff. Absolutely not. Now, if they ever were to lose any of these games, obviously that's a whole different situation.
Okay, this Heather Dinich from ESPN said that if Miami plays SMU and it's a really close game, they could both get into the playoff. Do you agree with that?
It's looking that way right now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. One last point. Who the hell's idea was it to let Omer leave the basketball team?
That was
What the hell was that?
Omer and his agent. It was their idea.
They offered him $750,000, Greg, and he turned them down.
Look at the team sucks. It's awful.
They're having a hard time, no doubt.
Yeah.
They had a rough weekend, but
they can't rebound.
No, they did the right thing by Omer. They offered him $750,000 to stay, and he took $1 million from Baylor.
All right, I'll give you my prediction.
What'd you say, Greg?
I'm going to give you my prediction for the game.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Miami 42, Syracuse 24, and I hope that's true because the championship game's less than an hour from my house. So.
Whoa.
Nice.
You're gonna come have a beer with me on Friday night if we make it?
Yeah, sure. Too bad. Right. You could bring your golf clubs and come play at my course.
You have a course in Charlotte?
No, it's in Hickory, but it's less than an hour away.
Oh,
anyway, it's going to be freezing. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be a little cold for that, I think.
All right,
Gary.
If it's above 50, I'm going to let you send a limo for me.
You do know it's a miniature golf course, Gary, right?
I'm sure.
No, I don't think so. By the way, Matt, are you going to the game in Syracuse this weekend?
No, I did not get my invitation in the mail.
Gary, are you going?
I am not. I have some family commitments I got to take care of.
Matt, are you coming to Charlotte? Come on.
I've got. Last time they were in the championship game, I went. Let's get there first, Greg, and then we'll figure it out. All right.
All right. Good talking to you.
I will be definitely in Charlotte, Greg. I don't miss too many games, but I just got some family stuff this weekend.
Gotcha. Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Bye now.
You too, Greg.
You know,
love that guy.
He's great. He's awesome.
I like that. You know what? I like that he hates me because he epitomizes every fan that doesn't like me. They're sort of nice to me, but you could tell they don't respect me. They don't believe me. They don't listen to me. And then like a little bit later, like a few years later, like, oh yeah, I guess he was right, or whatever. Oh, the transfer portal, you were right. They shouldn't have taken all these just another guys. I guess he was right. I'm a savant. I'm a hateable savant. That's exactly what I am. People hate me.
It's understandable. So listen.
And I love Nick S. I don't know why my mom is posting under Nick S's name, but I find it very disturbing.
All right. So he mentioned Florida. Okay. This little resurgence that Florida's had is wreaking havoc in recruiting in many different ways. Yeah. Kids that look like they could be turned away from the Gators or look like they're now sticking with the Gators. And the university decided not to fire Billy Napier and rather apply, instead of putting money towards a buyout, it's now going towards NIL. The Bull Gators are all fired up, and the NIL is flowing like there's no tomorrow. They are taking shots at everybody's recruiting classes. They are driving up the price of doing business on players. Like we had them where we wanted them. They were down and out, man. Like the Canes took care of business. They were on their deathbed in September. What the heck did Ole Miss and these schools let them like rise from the dead for, man? It's like this is going to be a wild final week of recruiting. I hope everybody watching is a CaneSport.com member. We will have all the coverage for you blow by blow every step of the way. There's going to be a lot going on this next week, and a lot of it is driven by Florida wreaking havoc in every way they can. I mean, they don't care what, even kids they know they're not getting, they don't care. They just want to drive the price up and make other people spend more money. So it's going to be wild. Let's put it that way. So stay tuned to CaneSport.com for all of that recruiting coverage. We'll have it every step of the way. All right, Jeffrey Francis says we got to do something with that number 7 on defense. He ain't going to cut it for real. Jaden Harris, Matt, is everybody's punching bag right now. We're seeing these comments all over social media, on our message boards. A lot of concern going into the Syracuse game because of how this team throws the football. These DBs are going to be under the gun. Even, M. Kramek says, looks like Miami's going to have to load up in the portal for cornerbacks. Everybody's minds are on the defensive backs. You've studied Syracuse's passing game. Can these guys hold up this weekend in the Carrier Dome?
Yeah, and you know what's sad? It's not Jaden Harris's fault. Miami should have seen this coming, right? This is what I don't understand this. Miami coaches literally coach these guys from day one in the spring, in the summer when they first get here. I don't understand that. And Jaden Harris started a couple of games last year. I didn't think he was particularly good. He had one decent game or decent half of a game after Cam was hurt, that one injury. But, I don't understand how these things happen where I'm literally on the show last week saying they need to move Akeem Mesidor to end from tackle, and then they do it. Like, how do they not know? How do you not see these things coming? That's what frustrates fans. And, they blame the players and they blame Jaden. These are young men who are put in these situations by the coaches, and maybe it's not fair to them. Like, the coaches should recognize what their problems are, right? I mean, Jaden Harris has great speed, but not much else. We're so used to safeties with great instincts, dating to Jaquan Johnson and Cam Kinchen, and all the safeties before him. Like, we're not used to seeing this, right? Just safeties just that are consistently not making plays, other than Mish Powell making plays in 2 games so far this year. And yeah, maybe guys have been banged up. Apparently Francisco Mauigoa has been a little banged up, but everyone's banged up. If they're playing, like Randy Shannon used to say, you're either hurt or you're injured, right? Everyone's hurt, but they play. If you're injured, you can't play. None of these guys are injured if they're playing. And people act like Damari Brown returning is the holy grail. The guy started 4 games as a freshman last year and was good. He was good, but he was targeted a lot by Florida with some success the first game. He was actually the most targeted defensive back in the entire secondary up until the point where he got hurt. Gave a couple of catches. Like, I'm not sure he's the holy grail answer. I don't think the secondary has a holy grail answer. I do think that they need portal guys in the secondary, just like I said. I said last portal season. They need defensive backs. They need difference-making defensive backs. That's the position. That's the weakness. I don't know why I had to be the one saying it. I'm not a coach. How do the coaches not address it and bring in Deani Hill and Jadeus Richard and these average guys? Like, I don't get it. And I'm literally saying Deani Hill. I literally said Deani Hill is not an answer. Everyone, Matt's crazy. He was at Marshall. He's fine. Like, I don't understand why guys think everyone Miami takes is always amazing. More than 50% of the transfers they take don't work out.
Time out for a second. So I think they showed you they agree with you because they did go to the portal and get DBs, but they weren't able to get difference-making DBs. And, that's why it seems the way it does. But, I mean, I do think they recognize they had a need in the defensive backfield. Jaden Harris is probably not really ready to be back there, and probably was never ready this year to be back there. And they didn't have anybody else. They had to run with what they had. So this week they are going to be tested in the secondary. You have to hope that over the course of the entire season that these guys have developed and can put forth a good effort out there.
What are you talking about? Do you watch the game?
That's what happens.
You have to hope. you have to think it's going to be different than what we've already
Well,
seen.
you're not going to predict that it will happen. You have to
I don't know.
hope.
All I know is what I've seen. Generally, what you see with your eyes is the truth. You can't just wish for something to happen, to come out of thin air.
Listen, I'm
Wake
looking.
Forest did them a huge favor last week by not being able to pass the ball at all and giving up on the pass for most of the game.
Yeah, Wake
But
Forest.
I'm not going to disguise the fact they need to outscore Syracuse. Like if you don't think Kyle McCord's going to throw for over 300 yards based on what you've already seen, like I'm taking the over on 300. People might think I'm crazy. The guy's
Greg
averaging
just told us
350 yards against
41-28.
better defenses than Miami.
Greg just told us 41-28. In the meantime, I'm looking at a guy that believes in the Miami secondary, and that's BK Hurricane 305.
Not necessarily.
Oh boy!
I feel a little presumptuous.
Don't label him as a DB lover.
Oh no, not me, not me. I'm saving that for somebody else, Gary. I'm gonna let somebody else fight that fight.
All right.
So listen,
What's going on,
recruiting has been kind of slow. Like, who's in play for us right now? Like, or is our class pretty much done?
Oh, no. They're in play for a lot of these guys. Pickett, TJ Alford, Carter, the defensive tackle that's committed to Ohio State. There's one
Not
other.
that many. It's not like a normal, exciting signing day. A lot of guys are
and Hanks, but I don't think they're going to get him. But they're taking they're still in the running for a few of these guys. But the biggest thing is they're having to make a decision on who they really want to keep because of what I said a minute ago. Stubbs, the DB from the Jacksonville area, Hilton Stubbs. He's getting a big push from the Gators. He's a very good player. I mean, justifiably so. Millen is getting hit up by Tennessee. And there's others too. I mean, so it's the typical fog of war, final week of recruiting. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. But for the most part, I do think, you probably could be called right. The class is probably 90% done.
Okay. Is on the injury front, is Alston back yet or he's still out?
We hope. I mean, he's kind of like we don't have a firm answer on that.
We really needed that guy this year.
Yes,
because with Barron acting up the way he was acting up, we could have just he could have been out of there 6 games ago.
5-6 games ago. Yes, you're 100% correct. And listen, an outside pass rush has been what's kind of been missing from the defense. This year they haven't really
until Matt threw it out there, just moved Messidor out there, and then we had it last week.
Outside, yeah, but what they really need is Messidor and Alston. I mean, quite honestly, and then let Bain rush from the inside. That's what I think they should be doing. But yeah, you're right. He would have helped them a lot.
Yeah. How do you feel about a couple of our guys getting snubbed on the award scene this offseason? I think they snubbed Borregales.
Yep.
He was one of the better kickers in college football. They snubbed him.
Yep.
They snubbed Cam Ward for the Maxwell.
I thought Ward was on the Maxwell.
They only got him up for the Doak. I mean, for the Davey O'Brien.
He wasn't on the Maxwell list?
Yeah,
no.
He was on you sure?
Yeah, he is. He's not on the final. He's not on the final list?
He's not on the finals list. It's Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Genty and Travis Hunter. He's not on the finals list.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's only up for the Davey O'Brien right now, it's looking like.
And
maybe, I don't know if they put out a Heisman list yet.
For whatever reason, all the people that vote on this stuff couldn't wait to drop Cam Ward, on the status chain. The minute he had an average game at Georgia Tech, he fell off the radar in terms of the Heisman and I guess obviously one or two of these other awards. And I don't know why. Maybe it's a little bit of a Miami bias or whatever, but it is definitely for real. Like they definitely started de-emphasizing him.
I mean, he had a few non-Cam Ward type games. I don't want to say they were bad, but they weren't up to the earlier standard. Like even last week, the week before, it was good. Not your typical Cam Ward numbers for 4 touchdowns, 5, whatever. So yeah, it's been a little bit on a downslide, but you can't have that eliminate a whole body of work.
He's a record-setting guy, but you know what? I don't know if it's true or not, but he says he could care less about awards. So whatever. Let somebody who cares about awards get him, I guess. Like, let's
I mean,
not let it bother us too much if he doesn't even want it, unless he's lying. But I don't think he lies. I'm sure he's telling the truth.
I mean, I could see if he's trying to make a good run at the national championship. I'd give up, those awards if I could get a good run.
Yeah.
In the national championship, yeah, sure, why not? And the way college football is right now, like everybody's beatable. Maybe not Oregon; they're looking good, but everybody's beatable.
Oregon
The SEC's not the same.
Had trouble with an average Wisconsin team,
like the SEC. I'm not downplaying the SEC, but they're not the same league. Everybody like to say they beat up on each other all year. They've never beat up on each other like this before.
True.
This is unheard of.
Get used to it. This is what the SEC is going to be, because they've made it too overloaded with quality programs. It's like everybody thinks.
Well, it's not just that it's quality programs. It's that you got the NIL. Now it's somewhat more of a level playing field, and don't let Auburn get good. It's going to be a disaster. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an absolute disaster in the SEC. You're going to see teams with 3 or 4 wins talking about four losses, talking about they need to be in the college football playoff because we play in the SEC.
Well, not 4 losses, but the 3-loss teams will try to make arguments for sure.
Oh yeah, they already started. They already started with that. Oh no, we should be there, but somebody's going to have 4 losses screaming about how they need to get in. Just from the way things are, unless Texas wins out, somebody's going to have maybe 4 losses screaming about how they need to be in the playoffs.
I mean, I like the idea of just taking the 2 teams that are in the title games, because, teams that lose the title games that reach there, that are left out of the playoffs in favor of a team that didn't even make the conference championship game in the same conference, that bothers me a little bit. I don't get it. But that's going to happen.
That would be a good idea, but somebody will complain.
That's for sure, but it makes things easier.
Somebody will complain. I mean, look at Indiana now. They might not have a shot to play in the big, what is it? What are they? The Big Ten? The Big Ten championship game. If Ohio State wins out, it'll be Ohio State and Oregon again, and then Indiana wins out. They're sitting there with 1 loss. You're talking about, well, hey, why can't we why can't we get an automatic bid?
Yeah. Let's say Miami does win the ACC title, right? They're going to play maybe Georgia or, I don't know.
Here's the projection as of today, where the rankings just came out. This is what the
I'll take that.
This is what the projected playoff would look like right here. So, yeah, I mean, you'd probably be playing the
Penn State or Indiana?
Penn State or Indiana.
Penn State and Indiana. Yeah.
Oh no, I'll take that. I'll take that every day.
Yeah, and
I'll take that over Ohio State. That's a pretty good.
I'll take that over that or any SEC school
over Georgia. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, if it played out like this graphic is showing,
there's no chance. The chance of that playing out like that is the chance of like a hurricane hitting us when we're in the path and it's 7 days out. We're in the middle of the path and it's 7 days out. There's 0 chance that's what it look like. 0 chance.
They're not going to be that nice to us if we make the the playoffs. They're not going to be that nice to us.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're going to start ranking SEC teams to get a SEC Miami matchup, which would be good for ratings. But
this is an awesome thing, though, man. Like, I'm looking at this. So let's figure Georgia beats Tennessee. Just thinking, hypothetically. Man, an Oregon-Georgia game would be hellacious. Like that would be a great game to watch. It might even be down here. Who knows? Then Notre Dame is as hot as any team in the country. I think that's SMU that they do have SMU getting in right now. Yeah. And then the winner of that game would play Texas. Texas Notre Dame be a hell of a game. Miami Penn State would be a hell of a game. And then I guess Ohio State against, I guess that's Boise, right? that one wouldn't be so exciting. But 3 out of the 4 games would be.
They
really
have Arizona State winning the Big 12.
By the way, BK, because it covers up Matt. This is great.
They have Arizona State winning the Big 12. I'm just seeing that.
Yeah. But whoever gets to play Boise State gets a pass, man. Boise State, everyone's going to want to play Boise State.
Yeah.
And
then Ohio State.
And that's what's wrong with the system, quite honestly. Someone was saying it the other day. It's like the NCAA tournament in basketball. As great as it is, everybody knows they don't take the best teams, right? That's the system. The system is to reward teams for winning their conference. What the football conference does with 12 teams is they still don't take the best teams. As much as they want to claim we're taking the 12 best teams in the country, they are not. They are not taking the 12 best teams in the country, unfortunately.
Don't be surprised if Notre Dame wets the bed this weekend.
You think the run's
against SC? Against SC, I have no faith in that team.
Really good football.
Yeah, they're good. They're playing good football, but they did lose to what? Who they lose to? Northern Illinois or something like that?
Yeah. I can't explain that one.
This is the kind of year we've had in college football, so that's why Miami needs to make it there. They could beat TCU. They could beat TCU and make it to that championship game. I'm not saying they're going to win, just like TCU made it to that championship game with no defense, all offense. And they met a Georgia team that was stacked, and they got smoked.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't mind getting smoked if it was the national championship. only in the national championship, though. Only in the national championship. But I don't think that would happen. It would just be a crazy high-scoring game. Trick plays everywhere. Mario would throw the kitchen sink at everybody just to get that win.
I got to think,
you'd see the most ridiculous things ever.
I got to think Miami does have some kitchen sink that they have not unleashed yet.
They make to the playoffs. You're going to see stuff that you're going to be like, where was this guy all year?
Well,
you're going to see Chris Johnson running wheel routes.
Where's Chris Johnson been all year? Correct. Yeah.
You're going to see Chris Johnson running wheel routes, returning kicks, faking punts. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous if they get that far. You're going to see some crazy stuff.
Yeah. All right, BK.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, though. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, though.
You too.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Good talking to you. All right, let's go to. I don't quite know what this means, but it's T-Dog in the sauna.
He is in the sauna, that's for sure. Jeez.
What's
awesome.
good, guys?
Wow.
What's up, T-Dog? Working up a little sweat there, huh? Trying to lose a few pounds before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. I know I like to get down during Thanksgiving. Like my boy Lance Guidry said, the whole dressing thing, I totally get it. People of my ilk get it. We know what that means. We don't call it stuffing. It is dressing. He's absolutely right. So shout out to my guy, Lance Guidry. I feel you. All right. This is that time of the year where awards are given out to the players. So I would like to get my awards for this year. I tried to tell your ass that we was going to miss Cam Kitchens. I want that award. I want the award for saying Sam Brown was trash. He keeps dropping balls. He's slow as hell when he catches a ball on a curl. It takes him forever to get out of the blocks. I want my award for telling you that Lyle should have been used all season long. Granted, we finding out maybe he was a little hurt, but I still think there were some games where they could have used him and he wasn't hurt. He's a difference maker to me coming out of the backfield. What else do I have, Matt? What are my other awards?
I don't know. Those are all things that Gary got wrong. What about the ones I got right?
You don't want Sam Brown back next year. You think?
No, man, no.
Let him go. Let him go.
And let me just say this. I think that shit that's going on with the Luke thing and all that is BS, bro. I think that's total BS. But I will say this on one thing I do agree with him. He is taking snaps from somebody else. Sam Brown is. I totally agree with that. I don't think that K Beard is a bad coach. But I do think that Brown is taking. I really do, Gary. For the money that we gave him, bringing him all the way over here to stunt someone else's growth, I don't think it was worth it. To be honest with you, you could say that Martinez was worth it, but you can't say that Sam Brown was worth it.
I do think he was worth it, and even without the Monday morning quarterback aspect of it, which obviously is that nobody has gotten injured this year. They've been very healthy. I think you having a fourth proven guy out there. Horton came into this year. You thought he was going to be good, but I wouldn't say he was proven. And I absolutely think having him on this team has been a positive. He's got like 35 catches. He's capable of so much more. He's played a lot of college football. And when you get to this point in the season where you're playing better teams, and it's valuable to have guys like that. But it's really, he's not taking anybody's reps. He only had 28 reps the other day.
Let me tell you whose reps I think he's taking. I think JoJo should have been out there.
Horton had
taking
40,
JoJo's reps.
Ray hasn't done a damn thing. Okay,
I said JoJo.
Oh, JoJo Trader. He hasn't really done a lot either, quite honestly.
Of course, because he hasn't been out there. That's my point.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. But obviously, they think Sam Brown right now, a veteran Sam Brown, is better than a true freshman JoJo Trader. And having watched them in fall camp, I can't argue with it. Like,
I've been to about 4 games this year. As you know, we sit real close at the home games, and then when they came up for Georgia to Atlanta for the Tech game, I was there. And I know this doesn't count, but just looking in the warm-ups, JoJo is different, bro. He's so smooth. I'm telling you, when he gets on the field next year, you're going to be saying, damn, why wasn't he playing the year before? The same thing we're saying about Lyle, you're going to be saying about JoJo. And I'm not saying he's going to be Jeremiah Smith and all that and Randy Moss. I'm just telling you he's better than the guy who's taking his reps right now. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I'm going to assume. I hope I'm assuming. Man, how many? He hasn't played more than 4 games yet, right?
I can look real quick.
Look real quick at that. But in the meantime, he's not taking anybody's reps. I mean, he had 28 reps the other day. Horton had 46. So he's the number 4 receiver right now on the team.
He's played 6 games.
Oh yeah, so he's losing his red shirt.
So
then obviously, T-Dog, whether you agree, disagree, or whatever, the coaches think that Sam Brown is ahead of JoJo Trader as their number 4 receiver. And, they're out there every day. You got to defer to them on that. I mean, listen, we'll sit here and criticize and challenge and analyze and all that, every single element of this team. But when it comes to a decision like that, I think you got to defer to the guys that are working with this kid every single day and understand where he's at. And you're disagreeing based on an assumption.
No. But listen to this: the coaches kept putting Barron out there all season, and we all said that he was sucking. So just because a coach makes a decision doesn't make it right, Gary. We're all human beings. We make mistakes. I'm not saying that the coaching staff is horrible. I love my coaching staff, but they do make mistakes. No different than Lance making mistakes with his scheme that he was running until he made some corrections. They make mistakes, and to me, and I know NIL drives this. Let's be real. NIL is driving a lot of these decisions. Let's just be real about it.
Well, I think it drove the Barron decision because they made a big investment in Barron and brought him here. And listen, the talk before the season started was this guy's going to be a first-round draft pick. That's all we're hearing all through training camp. Wow, Tyler Barron, man, Tyler Barron. He looked great in the Gator game. He looked great in the FAMU game, and then he freaking disappeared. Like, if you're the coaches, maybe they could have pulled the trigger on him a few weeks earlier. But what are they supposed to do? They're counting on this guy to be an impact defensive end.
I don't know, man. I just mark this down. I always have one at the end of every year. My next year's rant will be JoJo should have been on the field. So remember this conversation, Matt. You're my backup. You're my witness.
I hear it.
You're my witness to this marriage. Okay, I'm marrying myself to JoJo. We'll be talking about this next year.
And he definitely could have been on the field if they felt he was number 4 instead of, I guess they probably would say he's number 5 right now.
Okay. My last point, I totally think that we needed to get those. I've been saying this also. This is my last award, I guess. I've been saying from the beginning of the season that we need those long speed defensive ends, right? Those long, speedy defensive ends. You need the length because sometimes you don't get home, but you can disrupt the pass, right? You're not going to always get home. And so you need that length, and we don't have that. I've always said Bain is not a DN, not because of his skill set, but just because of his body type. He's not a DN, right? So we need to recruit that. And people kept telling me on the board, we have it. But yeah, what's the point of having it in the house and we're not utilizing it? So
I'm not sure they have it in house.
I agree. Because if you had,
that's the Jaden Wayne, right? That's the guys that they've gotten guys like that in the past, and they just haven't
really.
Yeah. So we got to get that. And I also agree with y'all about the corners. Hopefully, we can make the ultimate flip that we're all rooting for over the next week or so. So hopefully that happens, and we'll have a great Christmas.
They like Cole McConaughey a lot. We'll see how he develops going into next season. Lightfoot to me is a little undersized.
I agree.
We're gonna have to see what happens there.
I agree.
But I'm not making any predictions there. But yeah, I think you're gonna see them attack this in the portal. For sure, it makes sense.
Need it, bro. They need it. When you get that, you 100. Have a true, legit pass rush.
Yes, I totally agree.
All right,
and they got to try to get. And I think they got to try to get Mesidor to come back. Like Mesidor is not in a great place right now with the NFL. I mean, he needs to come back. He needs to get a commitment from them that they will leave him a defensive end. I believe they would make that commitment and come back and have a monster year next year and do what Cam Ward has done this year in taking himself from the middle of the draft to the top of the draft. You can do it, and he has the ability. So hopefully they can talk him into coming back.
I know it's way too early, but I would love to hear y'all tonight talk about the possibilities of quarterbacks that we'll be looking for in the portal for next year, because we're gonna need it, man. I love Emory and everything, but let's be real. Once you set the bar, it's kind of hard to go back. So I don't know.
This is a tough one, T-Dog, because you got Emory sitting there who's put in his time. Okay, he's put in 2 years of development now. Played last year, did okay. Has spent this whole year developing. Looks phenomenal. I mean, he's bulked up physically. Looks like a young Justin Herbert in terms of body type. Mm-hmm. He's very accurate passer, throws it around. We had a story with his quarterback coach a couple weeks ago, and I mean it. You think like Emory might be ready, but you know what the key word is there? Might.
Yeah.
And you don't know, and that's the predicament that the coaches are in, because they have to look out for the best thing for the program. And the best thing for the program is you got to go look for the best quarterback that will come, whether he's the best quarterback in the portal or the second best or third best, whatever. Those guys are going to want to have a pretty decent assurance they're going to start. But you got to bring in the best guy you can get and have him come in here and compete with Emory in spring practice. And let the chips fall where they may from there. You got Luke Nickel coming in. You got Judd Anderson there, who's developing well. But can you go into next season with 3 quarterbacks who haven't done it, and that's your quarterback stable on your team? Absolutely not. I agree with you. I think they got to look and see what's in the portal.
Yeah, because when you think about it, when Cam is going next year, who's the best quarterback in the conference? The guy at SMU, right? So you have to ask yourself, quarterback, right? So you have to ask yourself, the quarterback that you're going to have next year, is he on that level, above or below? You got to ask yourself that.
T-Dog for GM, Matt. He's got this all figured out, and you're spot on, man. And Miami has to go to SMU next year.
Mm-hmm. Because that's going to be the front runner of the conference next year, depending on what Miami does with quarterback.
Yep.
So
no doubt.
All right, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right,
happy
man.
Turkey Day.
Hey, I don't think you're supposed to be in there for more than like 15 minutes at a time. So
seriously,
it went off a long time ago, man.
Just make sure you get it. Make sure you get it.
0-0. It went off a long time ago.
Make sure you get out of there in time. All right, we want to see you. We want to see you next week to talk about the Syracuse game.
All right, fellas. Peace.
All right, T-Dog. Have a good night. It's awesome, man. Doing the show from the sauna. All right, if you want to come on the show, it's CaneSport@yahoo.com. You email us, we'll send you the link to the studio. But now let's go to our man Jake, who hopefully is not too inebriated. The eyes are looking a little glazed though there, Jake. You got to put your mic on, man. Hey Jake, you got to put your mic on.
I'm working with the knife, so hopefully not too bad. So
just don't stab Matt through the screen, please.
We're only 2 glasses in, so life's good. So a couple of things. Sorry, 1 second. I gotta wash my hand there. Self-recruiting the team. You were just talking about Keem Mesidor, Sam Brown. I'd love to see Arroyo come back. I don't think it's going to happen.
That is not happening.
That ship sailed, huh?
100%. He's going to be drafted very high, and he should go.
Yeah,
but not too many of these other guys should. I'll tell you that.
Well, the only two I'm thinking, I mean, Sam Brown, he's been a little lackluster, but I was just looking up his stats. He's had 500 yards. I mean, there's something to build on. And then you want depth.
100%. Sam Brown has value to this team next year.
We didn't do a great job recruiting receiver the last couple of years, and I'd rather have him than not.
100.
You know, the portal, the problem with the portal is, you know, it's the same thing with quarterback. Like, you don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what's going to be out there. Is it better than what you've got? And, you know, hopefully, yeah, maybe some stud goes into the portal. You can go get him. Great, make a run at it. You're also competing with how many other teams, and there's only so much talent. How many guys have we picked up? Tyler Barron, prime example. Thought the guy was going to be a stud. Turned out to be a dud. He reminds me of Jalen Phillips without the athletic ability of Jalen Phillips. If Phillips could over pursue and then get back on what he was doing, Barron doesn't have that ability. Yeah. He's not long enough.
No. No, he freelances too much. He gets out of the scheme. He's really hurt them on some individual plays on occasion, and that's why you saw him get 2 reps. They were sending him a message.
Well, he hasn't closed. Jalen Phillips freelanced all day long, but he got home enough that it was worth the juice of the times that he'd get burned on it. Yeah, for every missed tackle, you'd have 2 or 3 tackles for loss, and you'd have a sack or 2. Barron's just not getting that done. But him aside, I wanted to stay positive this week. I know I'm usually the negative guy, but it's Thanksgiving week. I'm feeling festive. I'm feeling good. Hopefully we win. Otherwise, really the next 2 weeks, because it's been said before, but God, if we lose to Rhett Lashley in year 1, oh my God. That's going to be.
Let's get there. Let's worry about that next week.
One week at a time. 1 week at a time.
They got their hands full this week.
So one of the things you guys started talking about it a little before, but the SEC, I can actually understand the representation or the over-representation in the SEC. That conference, top to bottom, they don't have a lot of trash in there. And even this year, Vandy's pretty good. So really, the only garbage in the SEC this year is, Mississippi State. Everything else there, top to bottom, is pretty good. But the one that bothers me is the Big Ten. The Big Ten just watered themselves down. Yeah, you added Oregon, but you added 3 other irrelevant teams. I know USC was supposed to be good, but they really haven't been good in the last decade or so. They've kind of been.
They can come back. Though the USC will be back to being good. It's
but they've been like on the Miami trajectory, and that's a little self-deprecating, but they've been an underperforming team since they won their championships right after we did. They haven't really made any noise since then, much the same as us. And but how many Washington? Hey, they struck gold last year. Good for them. But I'm hoping we can kind of match that same tempo and maybe back our way in. And the thing this year that I think we were talking about, or you guys were talking earlier about the pessimism. And trust me, I've been very prone to that myself, because I'm looking forward to 2025, 2026. I don't like what I see. But this year with Cam Ward, we have that puncher's chance that I don't see any. Ohio State right now, and actually you were saying Notre Dame, and I hate saying both of those. If there's 2 teams I just hate to death, it's the both of them. Those 2 teams scare me a little bit. Other than that, Georgia doesn't scare me. They've been in dog fights in half their games this year. Alabama, they got 3 losses. I'm sorry. We got Cam Ward. We can match against them. Tennessee, same thing. There aren't that many teams this year that it's like, wow, this is just the odds-on favorite. There's no chance. Even Oregon, they've been in some dog fights. They stole one away from Ohio State. They barely won last week against Wisconsin. We got a puncher's chance against any of these teams. Now we got to win. And that's the crazy thing is just the same as I think we got to beat Georgia. We got to beat Syracuse too. And that's kind of been the dichotomy of the season is that we could go toe to toe with anyone, and we can also lose to anyone in the same breath. And that's, I think, what's got this anxiety up this year.
It's justifiable.
And then to further that, I think, like looking back 2017, that was a blast. That season was so much fun. The way it ended, that was rough. We had a lot of bad injuries on offense. I mean, we lost our 3 best offensive players that year. But I think what everyone's so nervous or worried about is this it? Do we get our little run this year? Who knows what it'll be? It could be a national championship. You never know. I mean, this team has a puncher's chance every week they play. But what everyone's nervous about is what happens next year. Georgia's going to keep being Georgia next year. Ohio State's going to keep being Ohio State. Are we still going to be in this mix next year? And
Jake,
I don't think so. But
there's going to be 40 new players on this team by January. You can't even begin to think about next year. We have no idea. I mean, welcome to modern day college football. We have no clue what this team's going to look like 2 months from, a month from now, really, a month and a half from now. It's going to be a whole new team with all different players and characters. And I wouldn't waste 1 second stressing about it.
No, I'm going to have fun the next couple of weeks, see how it plays out. I do hate the idea, and Matt was alluding to this earlier, of these championship games, the conference championships, not having any relevance unless you're in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah, it hurts you sometimes if you lose. It hurts you. I mean, what's the point?
If we weren't playing in this, supposing we win on Saturday, but let's say Clemson had the tiebreaker and they play and lose to SMU, we'd be better off than if we played in the championship game and lost to SMU. Right. How does that math add up?
Yeah, because
the benefit is you're playing for a bye. That's your carrot. But there's a carrot. There's also a stick. There shouldn't be the stick. It should just be a carrot, pure and simple. But it's not.
And it's a big carrot.
Oh yeah.
One less game is huge.
They still need to redo. The conference thing. I think eventually this conference thing is going to be gone. It'll go to more of the haves and the have-nots, right? Because there's so many teams in these conferences that are not going to be able to compete long-term monetarily. I mean, already, even with Miami being in such a great shape money-wise as it is for NIL, they're allocating money that was supposed to be for the IPF reconstruction of it's not the IPF, but the new facility, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They had to delay that just because they need to put money into NIL. And that's Miami, where they have tons of money. The NIL program is very, very healthy, right? But at some point, these other programs are going to just go by the wayside and be like, we can't spend these millions of dollars for a 4-win team every year. That's just going to happen at some point. It'll just fly up.
Well, I think this NIL thing, to me, it's Pandora's box. I think it's going to ruin college football. The payoff was always supposed to be you make your money in the pros. You go in, you learn, you get developed, and then you go make your money in the NFL if you're good enough. If not, hey, you get a free college education, you get the experience, everything else. Plenty of Hurricanes have made money in the past. Plenty of other players have made a lot of money off of their college degree and what they got from that. With that being said, I just don't – you guys were talking, or Gary, you were talking earlier, stupid Florida running up the market on an already insane – out of line market? How dumb are you? I mean,
they're willing to pay if they can get the guys. They're not. I mean, I call it running up the market because they're not getting everybody, but they're willing to pay if they can get guys. I mean, the Bull Gators are they're all excited about these last few games, and
but that's like filling up your gas tank and then blowing up the gas station behind you. I mean, it's you got to go back there eventually.
Here's what's so dumb. Elon Musk tomorrow can say, here's $1 billion for the NIL program at Elon.
The guy at Michigan,
He could have Elon.
The number 2 guy behind Elon, I forget his name. The number 2 rich guy in the country, Larry. I don't remember his name, but he did that at Michigan. He put up the money to get Underwood. The number one.
If you forget one player, you can give a fortune if you have billions and billions of dollars. You can give so much money to a program that sucks, and they can just buy themselves a brand new team that will win a national championship. Like, that's not right.
How can you root for a sport for that kid? $2.5 million.
How can you root for a sport where that can happen? It's just not right.
Yeah, it's going to ruin the sport because
I agree, 100%.
I think these leagues are going to ruin the sport too. Because, the SEC, that's pretty solid top to bottom. But look at Penn State's schedule. It didn't get better with the addition of those Pac-12 teams. All it is watered down crap. They haven't played anyone other than Ohio State, and they lost this year.
Well, that's not NIL. Can you imagine if the NFL, every single player in the NFL was a free agent every single year? Because that's what college football is.
The chaos.
I
was just kind of off on a tangent with that. But that's the other thing too, is you have no contracts here. So it's one thing to foot the money in the NFL, knowing that, hey, I've got this guy locked up for 5 years, so I think his talent's worth what I'm paying him, and I control that contract for several years. But now you're talking 1 year, and then are these lower level teams going to want to put the effort into coaching, into development, into recruiting, knowing that, hey, my best players, 1 year from now, they're gone. I finally get this guy on track. Boom, he's off to some other league, some other team.
I would not be shocked if some programs drop football that you'll be shocked about in the next 5 or 10 years. I'm not even kidding. They're not going to be able to compete. They're not going to have the money for it. And they're going to say, this is ridiculous. Like, what's the point? What's the point of going out and losing every game? It's more embarrassing to have a team than not to have a team at that point. Not every team has all this money.
It was one thing when you didn't have to put booster money into paying kids, but how long are these boosters go? Like you just said, we won 4
boosters will always pay. They'll always pay at Miami's and Ohio State. They will always do that.
Yes, but
the other programs that are always bad
boosters, they got money, but are they going to say, winning 6 games a year and I'm going to pay a $10 million payroll for our team just to have their players get poached? Or say Utah, I'm here in Salt Lake City. They don't have the booster that you have here. They do have pretty good player development, but they're getting poached, and it's like
it costs these programs a fortune to do.
I don't think it's sustainable, and you're probably going to wind up.
For some programs, it's not. That's what I'm saying. For some programs, it's not. For Miami, it's not a problem. For a lot of programs, I think it will be a big problem, and the schools are not going to put up with the presidents of the school if they're not big athletic supporters. I'm telling you right now, man, there are going to be some programs that are going to just go by the wayside. I mean, I don't see a way around it.
They have a supporter in the president's office. All right, Jake, anything else for us this week real quick?
So one last thing I'll touch on, and you guys touched on it a little, but are we kind of in that, I noticed some big roster movement this last week, and are we kind of past the point of bullshit where NIL money doesn't mean anything anymore?
Absolutely.
We need to win 100 single game from here on out. Tyler Barron, hey, you know what? If you don't pay another snap, you don't play another snap. Jordan Lyle's getting it done. You know what? Sorry, guys, he's getting it done. Sorry,
100%. They are absolutely at that point. Definitely.
Like Georgia Tech, I think, was that wake up. We had to, we should have won that game. We didn't, and now it's like, hey, best guys on the field. I hope that's the case.
It is. All right, Jake. Next week, man.
See you guys later. Happy Thanksgiving.
Salute. Salute, man. All right. George Suniga says if Miami doesn't win the ACC title, this will be a disappointment of a season. Adam?
Hey, guys.
You look like a wild man, my man.
Thank you.
But you agree with George or disagree? Disappointment of a season if Miami doesn't get it done?
I think Going into the season, no. My over-under was 10 wins, or my high ceiling mark was 10 wins because I didn't know which Cam Moore we would get and how it would all blend together. But seeing how this team has performed throughout the year now, yes. So my expectations has changed based on how we've looked throughout the season.
Way to not be a wiffle waffler. Good for you.
Well, I'm not. I'm saying right now it would be.
Right. I'm the same way.
Year,
Listen, I predicted 8. What did I predict? 8 to 12, so I settled on 10. And then I changed it to 11. But they could wind up at 10 and 2. If they wind up at 10 and 2 in the regular season, then everyone's gonna be like, we should have just stuck to our guns, because pretty much everyone predicted 10 and 2 was the baseline at the start of the season. And then all of a sudden they're 9 and 0, and everyone's like, oh my God, they're going 11 or 12 games. But maybe
I think Rocky sums it up pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
You
can't go 10 and 2 when you go 9. When you go 9 and 0, you can't end 10 and 2. Like, that's a sign that your program's not getting better as the year goes on. And that's sort of been the problem Miami's had for so many years. They just don't seem to improve. And you got it under Mario. You can't keep doing that with this new coaching staff. You can't.
Yeah. How do you what do you think the keys are for? And I don't know if you'll do a prediction later in the week, but what do you think the keys are to going up to upstate New York and coming out with a victory and heading on to Charlotte?
Who's your question for? Because Gary will answer this for 20 minutes. I'll answer it in 1 minute. Do you want a long answer or a short answer, Adam?
Whatever answer.
Pressure on the quarterback, right, Matt?
Here's your 20-minute answer. Go ahead, Gary. The floor is yours.
I just did it in 5 seconds. Pressure on the quarterback.
So like what Pitt did to McCord and make him...
He'll break down.
Oh, okay. No, because they have some good... I mean, I haven't really watched Syracuse, but they have I know they have Aronde Gadsden's son, who's supposedly amazing, and then they have a couple of other good players on offense, at least. I don't know how they are defensively, but offensively, I know they have weapons.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Adam. As I've watched us play defense this whole year, I just have not felt that Lance Guidry was comfortable with this set of personnel that he has. He was not. We weren't watching a Lance Guidry defense, in my opinion. And against Wake Forest,
he disagrees with you, by the way.
I know he does. But listen, against Wake Forest, where there was no threat of the passing game, Lance Guidry went back to being Lance Guidry. He was dialing it up. He was shooting guys into gaps. He was blowing up plays. He was back to being Lance Guidry. I'm not sure we've seen that at any point this season, Matt. Have we? Am I forgetting something?
You're forgetting that it's on the players to look like that. That's what you're forgetting.
Okay, but my point is that
just because players are slow because they're thinking too much, it doesn't mean they're not running Lance Guidry's defense. It means they're not playing well in his scheme.
Okay, but he looked, for obvious reasons, in that game. Wake Forest was not a threat throwing the ball down the field. Right. He looked more comfortable.
Let me explain something to you, Gary, okay? Because Adam, I'm sure already knows this. He looks like he's fallen asleep already because he knows this.
No.
When
he's thinking.
When eye discipline is your biggest problem, which I think Miami, it has been, okay? When teams are doing a lot of play action or RPO stuff, it causes Miami to play slow on defense, not be shooting the gaps, not playing a Lance Guidry defense, right? Wake Forest, they knew wasn't going to throw the ball, and they couldn't do anything about it. Now, they knew that with Georgia Tech also. The difference was that Georgia Tech was running jet sweeps and stuff that Miami, and option-type stuff, that Miami was totally unprepared for and didn't know how to stop. If Georgia Tech ran the same A-gap plays over and over again that Wake Forest was, they would have run the Lance Guidry defense in that game too. Do you understand, Gary?
But what kind of offense does Syracuse run? Do they run the Georgia Tech sweeps, or is it your classic?
No, they don't do not a lot of pre-snap motion, 3-4 wide, including the tight end split out, and go to the first read a lot of the time. I mean, if you watch their film, they get the ball out fast. And I posted this on the board yesterday. There's a reason why the 3 of the top 4 receivers in the country with the most contested catches are from Syracuse. It's because Kyle McCord constantly throws into coverage. He doesn't care. It's why he's been intercepted 12 times.
Yeah.
Okay? He will throw the ball to his first read a lot of the time, covered or not. And they are covered a lot. And yeah, to their credit, they make the catches sometimes. But that's why they're making the contested catches, because he's throwing into areas where they are being contested. Like Mario and these coaches at Miami make it sound like how amazing these receivers are. They lead the nation in contested catches. They don't point out the reason for it. It's that Kyle McCord's making bad decisions and throwing into coverage.
Okay.
That's why they got to make him do that. You know, they got to force him to put
You
the
can't
ball
play
in
soft. You can't play soft man.
Okay. No, and I know Wake Forest. I didn't get a chance to watch the game because I was at a family event. But I know Wake Forest is famous for what's it called, the slow mesh, and they've been running that for years. So even that's a different kind of offense that we had to prepare. And I mean, the only thing I was happy I saw Miami had, like, there were sudden changes. I think Restrepo fumbled at like the 30, and didn't Wake Forest actually go backwards on that drive? So we forced them to punt. What did you see against Wake Forest? And I only have a couple more questions. Why did there seem until the end to be such a struggle on offense?
Wake Forest?
Against Wake Forest, yeah. We didn't score, I don't think, in the third. And
well, they only had nine drives in the game. One ended on a fumble. One ended on an interception. There was some false starts on, I think, 2 different drives. So you're talking about half the drives already. That put them in
and then there was a drive that got blown up by a bubble screen, like a few of them did at Georgia Tech.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was like 4 or 5 drives, well, really 4 drives, that ended because of self-inflicted problems. And that could be another 28 points, right? And they still got 42 points. So, you know, it wasn't like the end of the world. It just didn't look good because of the way it came about and went about. But the offense, without those stupid plays, without the interception, without the fumble, without dumb penalties, they would have scored 60 points, 55 points in that game pretty easily. So, I mean, I'm not, it just didn't click for them until the fourth quarter is all it was.
Okay. And now switching to recruiting. Outside of this kid, Timothy Merritt, who seems to be 50-50 with us in Tennessee, do you see any other recruits currently in Miami's class who we might lose in 8 days or whenever this signing day is?
Keep a close eye on Stubbs, man. It pains me to say it because he's such a valuable recruit in this class, but Florida's coming hard there, man. But ultimately, I think Miami's just going to have to work through it. And, in today's modern day age of college football, work through it sometimes means that you got to make some choices. Everybody can't get the big NIL that they want, and you might lose a couple guys that you thought you wanted, but hopefully they'll hold on to Stubbs. He's a huge priority in this class.
Okay. And do you see us adding the TJ Alford? I hear he's possibly looking to flip.
Great chance. Not definite, but great chance.
Okay. And then there was any word on I know Ben Hakes keeps saying he's locked in with Florida, but
I don't think that one's looking so great.
And then and DJ Pickett with LSU struggles this year.
DJ Pickett, I don't think
he's saying the right things.
But I don't think that one's dead. I feel better about Pickett than Hanks. I'm not sure I feel great about either one of them. But I would say I feel better about Pickett than Hanks. So
and nobody else out of left field. Could you see Miami?
I mean, they're still working. The Jacquez Carter's out there, but
I heard there was a kid who decommitted from North Carolina who had a Miami offer earlier, like a D lineman from up in North Carolina.
I don't know if that'll happen.
Oh, okay.
If they look at North Carolina, I think it'll be in the transfer portal. Everybody on North Carolina's football team is a free agent.
Okay.
Using the word loosely, but there's going to be a lot of guys from North Carolina that go in the portal and test the market, no doubt.
Okay, and this dovetails into my last question. How do we? And I know we're riding high this year as Florida State was last year. How do we avoid going through a Florida State collapse next year like they did this year?
Valuation, man. They're gonna fill spots. We're gonna have 85 players next August, and about 40 of them are not on the roster right now. So it's all about evaluation, Adam.
Okay. All right. Thanks for taking my call.
And then obviously recruiting. All right. Okay. Well, have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.
You too.
All right. Let's go to K-Mac. What's up, my man? K-Mac, you with us? Welcome to CaneSport Live.
Hey, what's going on, Gary? What's going on, Matt?
What's up?
Mad Dog. What's going on? With first time I finally catch you on the show, man. I enjoy waking up to you every morning. You guys are.
Oh, you
I
poor
told
guy.
Matt, I said
in the
tonight,
mornings?
I told Matt, I said, tonight you're on the show for the duration because K-Mac's got to have a piece of you.
That's right. Got to get some of that, man. Hey, look, there's a lot of stuff been talked about today. I know we don't have that kind of time to address it all. The Cam Ward not being on the whatever offensive player of the year, what travesty. But I wrote a post on that in the thread in your war room, Gary, about that. That bias is real, man. They're not giving us anything. He does have a shot, though. I will say if he can blow Syracuse out the water and he can go and we make the ACC championship and he has a monster game against SMU, I think we might squeak out a shot because I don't think Colorado's going to make their championship game. So I think Hunter's going to lose a little bit of his pizzazz. But I don't want to harp too much on that, man. I want to talk about we got a chance for the college football playoffs. And I want to kind of stay focused there. I agree with you guys, man. We can talk about all this other stuff. This has a chance to be a special season. And I think that's what should be the focus. One game at a time. We go to Syracuse. We take care of business. And I think looking at the rankings, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I think, man, a tight game against SMU, I think both of them get in. Especially Miami being at 6. I don't think you drop far losing a championship game, losing an ACC championship by
the committee agrees with you. I just put that up on the screen, and I can do it again. But the committee agrees with you. Oh, this is great. It blocks out. I love that this blocks out, Matt. But anyway, this is how the playoff would look right now, as of tonight, the way they rank the teams. And they've got SMU they're in there at number 10 and Miami at number 3. And right now they are thinking 2 ACC teams. And I love it because screw the damn SEC and those greedy bastards that are trying to lobby for 3-loss SEC teams to be in the college football playoff. Give me a freaking break. They came for the money. They got paid. They knew what they were getting into. Everybody wants to be in that one conference. Hallelujah to you guys. Enjoy this because you're going to be losing 3 games almost every single year. And no, the college football playoff is not a postseason SEC tournament. Okay, it's not. Okay,
hey Matt, and I heard you guys talking this morning, and Matt, I validate your point. I think you had a great point. If you schedule 3 strong non-conference games, and you blow through your conference and you lose in your conference championship, it is a tough beat. But I'm thinking about those old school days when Miami in the 80s and the 90s, when Miami was scheduling the top cream of the creme, and you were scared to still lose one game.
Right.
Scared to lose one game. Now,
but there's only 2. But that was when there's only 2 teams that played in the championship, right? Or really 1, because you'd have one team play some team that's ranked number 12, and the number 2 team played somebody ranked number 10. And you hope the number 1 team lost, right? Yeah, a totally different scenario. It's so much easier. Back then, it's like we're not going to make. The truth is most schools, even in Miami, had at best maybe a 15-20% chance of making that final, being number 1 and controlling your own destiny in that final bowl game. It's a whole different game now, and you need the money for NIL now. You can't even compare it, right? You have a 12-team playoff. You need to be in the playoffs to get recruits, to get transfers, and you need the money for NIL to pay everybody. I mean, to not be successful is a disaster in today's day and age, and it's not the same as it used to be.
I agree, but so with that being said, again, I validate your point. I'm not saying what you said.
Yeah, I understand.
It was a great point. But I did this morning. Now, Gary, I said this before. You did this morning show with guys at work, guys like Brandon and Jermaine. We talk when they see the show, they'll laugh about it. And I told them, like, hey, that's what these guys wanted. They wanted the super conference. That's not you can't blame everybody else because you wanted the creme de la creme of everybody that was available, and you can't use that now as your crutch. Correct. Yeah. You can't use that as your crutch. As to, hey, man, we lost 5 games, but hey, look, to me that actually tells a story. You played 5 strong teams and you couldn't beat 60% of them. You're not one of the best teams in college football then.
That was your first round. That was your first round of the playoffs.
That's it. And so I'm just and I'm so sick. I'm looking at Alabama and I'm like, they're still right there on the cusp with 3 losses. Matt, can you imagine this? They lost on the road to an unranked Oklahoma team and only scored 3 points.
Right.
Right.
They only scored 3
Right.
points in their
And they want to make an argument that they belong in the playoff. Please.
Nobody in the world can
No,
tell
I
me
agree
they
with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's my case. My point is more so if you're in a conference and you win every single conference game, and then you go to the conference championship game, and they're putting such an emphasis on the conference, right? And you lose that game, and you've maybe lost a previous game to a top 10 team because you scheduled a top 10 team. You know, you have 2 losses, you're on the outside looking in, and God forbid you played a third, top 10 team that's out of the conference, lost that. Even if you beat another top 10 team that was out of the conference as your 3 non-conference games, you're done for with 3 losses in most real world scenarios.
Yeah.
And I don't want teams to be dissuaded. Like I don't enjoy going to the Miami games when they're playing Bethune. As a matter of fact, I skipped one of the games this year because I didn't want to watch it. I'm like, it's going to be 66-0, which I was right about. I'm like, I'm not freaking driving 2 hours up there, sitting up in the press box where I can actually have a better view on the TV screen because the press box is like the worst press box ever up there. I'm like, screw this. Like, I'm not going. Yeah. And like, I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel like I'm going to see a great game where Miami can beat a really good team and we'll know what Miami is. We still don't even know if Miami's any good. And you know why? Because they haven't played anybody.
Yeah. Well, hey, Matt, look, we had to play on the schedule. Now, see, I like the FAMU type games. One, you want to give the smaller colleges in your area, you want to give them those shots to play you guys. You know what I mean? It's always nice that, and I think those are great games to get your freshmen some reps. I think those are the games you should use to get guys in here to see the speed of the game, get a chance to go out there and get their hands on some stuff because the meaningful games, you're not putting them in there barring injury.
You're not seeing the speed of the game, though, K-Mac, when you're playing those teams. You're just not. It's not the same.
I mean, well, it's still faster than high school. I mean, it's still faster than high school. At least somewhat.
By the way, it just cracks me up. Maybe you agree or disagree, K-Mac. I don't want to say. I want to say K-Mac and cheese. Can I say your last name or only your first name? Only your first name.
You can say your last name. They know what it is.
Okay, K-Mac and cheese. So what kills me is Miami's minor league team is SMU, right? It has the Miami's former coordinators, now their head coach. They have all these former Miami players.
Yep. And
they just come into the ACC and tear up the ACC competition and haven't lost an ACC game. Like, what does that, and then people are trying to tell me that the ACC is better than the SEC. These are my problems. I'm like, I deal in real world information. I don't see how an AAC team that lost games in the AAC comes to the ACC, blows up the ACC the following year with a bunch of Miami wannabes, and like all of a sudden we're anointing them like, oh yeah, no, they're for real, and so are all the other ACC teams. Like I don't believe that.
The ACC is not better than the
Alabama's bad, but I have a hard time saying the top 3 or 4 SEC teams are worse than the top 3 or 4 ACC teams. I just do.
That's a valid point, and so I'll touch on that a little bit. And you said it. It's like SMU is like little Miami. The talent that we had that they took was talent our coaches just didn't put in a position to do what they're doing right now. Lastly, I think we all can agree is better than we thought he was. I think he's way better of a coach than we actually thought he was. I mean, he did a great job as his offensive coordinator when he was at Miami. Nobody can coordinator anything. Look at what he did with Tyler Van Dyke. He made
for real.
I mean, he turned him into a stud, right? And we're seeing the same things. And I'm looking at saying, you know what? The talent that they have on their team is actually ACC talent. He just knows what to do with them and put them in the right spots to do what they're supposed to do. And again, it goes back to now our coordinators. I'm gonna leave that alone. We'll talk about that another day with the leader coordinators. But could you imagine Lashley with our offense right now, with the talent we have on that team? What he'd be doing we'd be steamrolling the ACC.
In fairness, Shannon Dawson has them number 1 in the country. Okay, they're number 1.
He does.
So yes, I'm sure Rhett Lashley could also have them at number 1 in the country, but Shannon Dawson's having a pretty good year with this group.
Well, I think if you remember when I know I do remember Lashley's offense. I mean, I would say we'd still be number 1, but I'd say we'd probably be averaging about 60 points a game.
K-Mac is talking about the diversity and the way that he runs the offense, right? People wouldn't be saying, like Miami fans literally are looking at the number 1 offense in the country and saying, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Because they see the inconsistencies. And I think what he's saying is with Rhett Lashley, you'd see so many different variations of similar concepts that other teams would have no idea how to stop it. I think every pundit in the country would be saying it's an unstoppable offense, which you're not hearing right now from national pundits about Miami's offense as good as it is.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums it up. And the last thing I'm gonna get into, man, is this again going back to we're at Syracuse, and I'm just so tired of hearing about all the weapons that Syracuse hasn't. We're walking into this game with what we just acknowledged is the best offense in the country.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about and being concerned? Syracuse is gonna do what we're gonna do. Miami just has to go just score. I would rather have an inept defense with a quarterback that we know can pull us out of a game like the Cat. We haven't been out of a game in any time this year. We've been in every game. We either won, even Georgia Tech, we had a shot to win that game. When you have a great defense and no offense, you can't go down 10 points. We can go down 10 and still win a game. And we know that. And I'll take that any day of the week. I'm thinking I would like to see Guidry, and I know it's just throwing it out there. I know we talked about the first read. I read your column today. Excellent write-up. Looked at some of the film myself and definitely can see the tendencies on the first read. I would like to – I think he needs to maybe press your inside guys and zone on the outside and try to keep everything in front. And if his first reads are those inside guys, your guys are right there. And if it's the outside guys, but you have protection, you have an umbrella of guys that can attack. I think you have to make them – if they're going to score, it has to be 11, 12-point drives. That way you have more opportunity for a mistake. I think if we go in there, we're letting them bomb over the top, trying to press man. I don't think we can hold up playing man all game. I really don't. I cannot see we don't have three guys that can hold up man to man all day. Yeah. He's going to have to find a way to zone it and keep stuff in front and hope our front four can get in there and toss it.
Let me ask you, who are you covering Gadsden with? Who's your seriously, who do you cover him with?
I mean, only because of his size, I'm like this. I don't think you have to put your best on him. I think if he's going to be a mismatch, if you put your best, like let's say OJ Frederick, right? He's our best corner.
Yeah.
But size-wise, why give him an advantage across the board? Let's put OJ Frederick somewhere where we have an advantage, and let's just try to work out where we don't have the advantage, because you technically say you don't have it anywhere across the board if you put OJ on
probably Mish, maybe. You might put Mish on him.
Oh, yeah. Great. Good thing Gary's on.
Who do you prefer, I say, Matt? Yeah. Like, what do you think? What do you Ed Reed and Sean Taylor aren't putting on uniforms on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, Mish Powell, he's listed at 6'1". He's more like 6 foot. And I'm pretty sure Gadsden's 6'4"? And I'm not sure Mish Powell's even faster than Gadsden. I mean, how do you do that?
Match up speed-wise.
And I think I heard Damari Brown's probably 60% chance, 70% chance of playing. But how much can he really give us being out so long?
That's a big question. Great question,
right.
K-Mac.
I just don't see him being able to. Yeah, I think he's going to have to play situational. I don't think he can come in and think he's going to start and he's going to play 70 defensive snaps on Saturday. I think you want to get 25 great snaps and hope he can do, a little something to help, just kind of cover that up. But in terms of what we would like to have, unfortunately, if he would have been back, 3-4 games ago, different story. But first game back, even if he makes it, it's not guaranteed to make it. This is a questionable call. Like I said, I think it's a 60 or 70% chance, what I heard. But I don't know, man. I think I'm liking Guidry pressing the inside guys and zoning on the outside guys. Keep everything in front of us. Give our front four and tell them, hey, guys, we're going to pull on you. We're going to need you. Talk about Tyler Barron. He's going to have to come in and he's going to have to give guys a spell. He's going to have to try and see what he can do and step up.
You watch what Pittsburgh did, and I'm sure they're going to do similar stuff, because what Pittsburgh does isn't that different than what Lance Guidry does, right? They line up 6, 7 on the line, standing up. They don't know who's going to pull back in coverage, who's going to rush. You wind up rushing 4, and then you're dropping into the passing lanes, and that's where McCord has a problem.
Yeah,
because he just throws the ball. And if your guy happens to drop into that spot where he's throwing the ball, it's going to be an interception, and that's how they got 5 interceptions, 2 return for touchdowns in that game. So, my guess is that's what they're going to wind up doing, right? They're going to have 6, 7 guys on the line, drop 2 or 3 of them off, and then have to hope that the outside coverage holds up, with OJ on one side and Shmuckamadoogaloo on the other side.
Yeah, whatever his name is. But in just all fairness and thinking about that, when you look at McCord, think about where he came from. He's not used to playing top-notch competition either. He could get away with that stuff playing. I think it was Coastal Carolina or Liberty or something.
No, McCord came from Ohio State. He was. He was back over at Ohio State.
Oh, I'm thinking McCall.
He didn't play that much, though. Okay. But yeah.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, McCord seen it, but for some reason, I guess there's a reason why he never made it. At Ohio State, and like Matt said, man,
look, just to be fair to Colin McCord, he actually is ranked higher for yards passing per game than Cam Ward. So, let's give him a little bit of credit. I mean, he has had some success, even with the interceptions.
Oh, yeah, can't knock the hustle, man. The stats are the stats. I'm not going to argue the stats. If he does, he does. But
McCord had 24 touchdowns last year, but they didn't like him at Ohio State. They didn't think he was very good. He was like the Tyler Van Dyke of Ohio State last year. So, and then he didn't play much before that. So,
right. He has his due to the system. I wouldn't ever put him in Cam Ward's class in terms of quarterback. We know who's a better quarterback. There's no doubt. Just the system. And so what it is, and that's where Guidry has to fight. He has to fight the system. He has to look at the system and say, we have to see what they're doing, and we have to put our guys in position to do that. And like I said, I just think Preston inside, umbrella on the outside, zone it up, man, and let our front five, blitz every now and then. And like I said, and you figure like this, you have a 1 in 4 shot of catching that one guy that his first read, as we're talking about, right? You got a 1 in 4 shot of that being that guy that's pressed up on that, with that first read, and hopefully it pans out. And even if we're wrong, like I said, if you have guys backing them up, everybody converge, get up there and tackle, which I know that's been a problem a couple times this year too. But for the most part, you just want to keep everything in front of you. My thing is keep it in front, and I think we'll be just fine. And again, go Canes, man. I think just make the ACC championship, still have a chance for an awesome, a special season. We may not see this again for another 20 years. I want to.
Oh, no, don't say that, please. No. No. Don't say that, K-Mac.
Yeah, I got to enjoy this, man. You can't take anything for granted nowadays, man. You just can't take.
We got Mario now, man. We're not going to have to wait for another 20 years.
Yeah, look, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Matt. But we've had a lot of other guys too.
I'm Gary. He's Matt.
It's confusing.
Right, K-Mac.
It's very confusing.
All right, but hey, good
Thank
talking
you,
to
my
you
man.
guys. Matt,
Hopefully we'll see you next week after a big win. Thanks for being on the show.
Happy Turkey Day, man.
You too, man. Oh my God. Can you imagine another 20 years? A couple interesting comments here. Showboy Kane says that Mario's not in the business of not playing the better players. I totally agree. He's commenting about the JoJo Trader argument earlier in the show with, I believe it was T-Dog. Obviously, they think Sam Brown is their number 4 receiver right now. And then I just want to clear something up for Armando Yazagiri. We were not busting on Lightfoot in any way, shape, or form.
It was you. I didn't mention
I wasn't busting on him. It's just
know.
we don't like right now. He's a little undersized. He's in development mode. We don't know where that one's going. We will see. We will see what happens. All right. Final guest of the night is going to be Rocky, who's on audio only. Rocky, welcome to CaneSport Live. What do you got for us?
I'm glad I got in for the last guest of the night. What's going on, Matt? What's going on, Gary? How you guys doing?
Doing good, but if you had the guts to put yourself on the video, we might have brought you on earlier, man.
Well, I'm in my pajamas right now, Gary. It might be scary for some of the folks.
Thank you. Audio only.
Exactly. Okay, so look, guys. So a bunch of stuff that we went over tonight. First off, I'll start off with the SEC is trash. And Matt, if you can look up Texas's, I'm going to go after their number 1. Look up Texas's schedule. Go down the list and tell me who they played outside of Georgia. You're going to find a lot of the bottom feeders in the SEC that they've gone and played this year. And I had that argument on a couple of streams this week with a bunch of SEC fools that are trying to get Bama in at 8-3. I know y'all talked about that earlier. But the one team that they did play, they got smashed.
You're on Texas this year? They played Michigan, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Texas A&M coming up. I don't know. They play some decent teams now.
And I don't think so. No.
Does Miami win all those games? At the point in time,
games, but okay. At the point in time when they played, Oklahoma, Oklahoma was trash.
Oklahoma was ranked number 16 when they played them, but all right.
Right, but they went downhill during the season.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, Texas beat them 34-3, so that puts a dent in somebody's season sometimes. But yeah.
Well, the point is them trying to get in three teams or for whatever it is at 3 losses is ridiculous. Is stupid. But
yeah,
going back.
Listen, I do agree with that, except for the fact that if you never let 3-loss teams in, they will stop scheduling decent non-conference opponents. You may as well forget just schedule conference games at that point. That's my only criticism of that whole thing. Like, you can't let in 3-loss teams. I mean, you have to find a way around it if they play really, really good non-conference opponents.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll go with
that.
3
times you've lost your first round playoff game. Come on, man.
Sure.
I mean, we can't start putting 3-loss teams in the college football playoff. It'll cheapen the whole thing.
Good. I like cheap things. I don't like expensive things.
Thank God the committee doesn't have any of those teams in this damn ranking that came out tonight.
No, I actually like the way the committee's doing it. They're giving a fair shake to every conference across the board.
100%.
You can see that in their rankings. So they're doing a pretty good job. But K-Mac made a point about our number one offense that we're going to go into Syracuse with this week. And I think there's been too much talk about the ACC championship game on the show because we got a game this Saturday. And if we don't come out ready to go, I'm dead serious, guys. If we don't come,
funny. You're right.
I rewatched Wake Forest in Miami today. They had it on the ACC network. It's 12:42 in the fourth quarter, and it's 20-14. We're up 6 against Wake freaking Forest. That is a problem, okay? And that's what I was screaming on the message board during the game. It's like, you cannot go into these games against these bottom feeder teams, and Wake Forest is a bottom feeder, and let these guys hang around. You can't do that against good teams. You're going to get beat. They had, a fumble, Cam Ward's interception, the second and third quarter where, for whatever reason, Shannon Dawson decided to go side to side instead of up the field, which boggles the mind. Because he's got all the weapons in the world. I mean, yeah, you could say good fourth quarter by the University of Miami, but it was Wake Forest. Wake Forest didn't have a pulse. Give me a break. And look, that's why I think this game is, I said it before last week, and I'll say it again, this is a culture test for the University of Miami. Cam Ward came out and said today that this is the championship game this week. He's absolutely right. And they better come on with their heads on straight and not play around with Syracuse, because Syracuse can throw the ball around. You ask Gary who's going to cover Gadsden, put Daryl Porter on him and bracket him with a linebacker. That's what I do because he's our most experienced corner. I'm just saying.
It's an option for sure. Yeah. I mean, there's only a couple.
That very well might be. By the way, that probably is what they do. Whether it works or not, a different question.
Say again?
I can't believe you're giving away the defensive game plan. How dare you?
Well, Fran Brown was doing it in his press conference. They were asking him who was hurt and who was going to play, or who was going to play, and he scoffed at the reporter. He's like, what side are you on? Are you on their side or our side?
Right.
And I know, Gary, you know something about that because you get asked to ask Mario and then that all the time at the press conference.
We try.
But go ahead.
We try to get the info for our peeps. Sometimes he gives it away, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah. But look, this game this weekend is going to come down to our defense. I think we can score all over. Their defense is not that good. We can score on Syracuse. It's going to come down to our defense making stops and giving our offense the opportunity to get ahead a couple of scores. Once that happens and Syracuse has no choice but to play comeback ball and throw the ball, we can pin our ears back and get after Kyle McCord. And that's going to be the difference in the game right there. And as long as we don't get cute, which Cam Ward likes to do a lot of times, which drives me nuts, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. You
mean like when he throws the ball across his body as he's falling out of bounds into the middle of the field?
Or when there's
the same thing over again?
Or when there's a tight end screen called and the play is dead and he doesn't dirt the ball into the ground and he tries to make a play and throws the ball right to a defensive lineman like he did this past week.
He knew he messed up that one. But you'll still take him, right, Rocky? You'll still take him.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be honest? If I'm an NFL general manager,
you think that you can coach the bad stuff out of him, and that he's a unique guy that gives you a chance to be, like
I think Cam Ward needs some discipline at the next level.
Yeah, no doubt. He'll learn that. He will learn that. He won't be able to get away with any of that crap.
I've said a bunch of times during the season, guys, watching Cam Ward play, that I love Cam Ward on the Miami Hurricanes, but privately, somebody needs to take him back behind the woodshed and knock him out. Because and say, hey, dude, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And y'all know, we all know why. We've all seen the games. I mean, great player, great talent, but at the same time, just, when you answer in a press conference, oh, I'm going to do that again. I'm talking about it throwing the ball across.
Really? Man.
What? Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, and if you're coaching them, you're like, you can't micromanage them because then you're taking away what makes him great. Like, they have had to let him just go be Cam, and it's worked out pretty well. I know they lost to Georgia Tech, but if they beat Syracuse, and they get to the championship game. They got where they needed to go with Cam Ward, and he has been a godsend for this program. Thank God he came. And I'll tell you something. I watched Drake May play quarterback for the New England Patriots the other day, and I'll take Cam Ward over him in the NFL any day of the week.
I got you. And look, the other part of that, though, Gary, is also the NIL factor, which gets you back to Tyler Barron. So you kind of got like, two heads there. I mean, look, when you pay these guys, you've got to play these guys until you get enough. And the other day, Lance Guidry and staff said, we've had enough.
We've had enough.
They finally sat them. They had enough, and they finally sat them down. And it's a problem. It's not just a Miami problem. It's a college football problem. Not all, but some of these players that are taking these NIL checks across college football, that you start to see tapering off of performance toward the back end of the season. It's been talked about all over the place.
But let me say this, Rocky. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday, but in looking at it, I think they need Tyler Barron on Saturday, and they need Tyler Barron. They need Tyler Barron playing the way he played in Gainesville, and maybe sitting him down and only playing him 2 snaps the other day. Maybe that's the thing that lights the firecracker under his butt, because he sees his future basically on his butt right now. I mean, he got embarrassed the other day. They played him 2 reps with a whole bunch of NFL scouts sitting up there watching. Yeah. So you want to play in the NFL, buddy? You might want to turn it loose against.
That's why we signed him for games like this Saturday. We need 100. Him to play to get in there and go take out Kyle McCord. That's why he's here, man. Yeah. We didn't. You don't bring these players in on these NIL with these NIL checks to go play a bunch of games, back channel through your agent that you have enough tape to go pro now, and then you can sit down the rest of the season. That's 100%. A bunch of crap.
That's a bunch of crap.
And that's what's going on in NIL. That's what the problem is with NIL right now. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know how you fix it. I agree with what you guys were talking about. I don't think NIL is going to last. I think it's going to collapse on itself eventually. $10 million for a true freshman to Michigan. Are you freaking kidding me? Get the heck out of here with that.
It's not going to fall. It's going to get worse, man, because these guys are going to be on revenue sharing deals, and they're going to get on NIL. It's going to get worse than what it is now.
So you're going to see 20 million, you're going to see 30 million, you're going to see, what? Did they throw in like
no, they still got too many guys they got to take care of, but I don't think NIL is going away. I think guys are going to have the chance to make even more money than they're making now. All right, Rock. We'll see what happens on Saturday, man.
Well, one more thing. Can I get one more thing in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gary, Matt, I'm from Louisiana. How dare you guys throw shade on dressing?
Throw shade. I didn't know what it was. I still am not sure what it is. It's some sort of casserole. It's not shade. Right? It's just, I don't know what it is.
No. Look. It's either cooked in a pot, Matt, over the stove. All right. Or sometimes it's done in a casserole dish. Oyster dressing, shrimp dressing, okay, rice dressing. Man, look, the best. If you don't know what it is
it my fault that it sounds disgusting the way you're describing it? That's not my fault.
Yes, it is, Matt. You need to know these things, especially when you're interviewing Lance Guidry.
Yeah, man.
Come on,
man. Yeah, man. It's not all about the stone crabs, man.
I didn't say to Lance Guidry. I don't know what. I didn't tell Lance Guidry. I don't know what dressing is.
Crab man, you are invited to Louisiana to come find out what dressing is.
Yeah, you have an invitation. What? I was going to go to the ACC championship game, so I found out Greg was going. Now I'm not going there. Now I got to go to Louisiana to learn a lesson on dressing. I'm good. I'm just going to stay here. Is that okay with everybody? I'm staying here. I'm not leaving my house ever again.
Hilarious.
All right, Rocky.
Okay, guys. See y'all later.
Hit us up next week, and don't put some clothes on and come on the camera.
Will do. All right, guys.
All right, Rocky. Yeah. Have a great night. All right, I'm going to get into some of these comments here before we go tonight, but I'm going to let Matt go. Matt, parting thoughts on as the Canes head to Syracuse.
I just want Greg to cancel his plans to go to the ACC title game. As long as he does that, then I hope Syracuse falls to the mighty Miami Hurricanes so Matt Shodell can go to the ACC title game and enjoy myself. No, but I do think, look, this has been
you can be caddy when I go play golf with Greg in the 40-degree weather. You can come
a miniature golf course in his basement. We'll never see you again. I am troubled by the memories of the Virginia Tech and Cal game. I'm troubled by Wake Forest having the ball in Miami territory at the beginning of the fourth quarter, down 6 points. I'm troubled by a great many things, not just in football, but in my daily personal life. However, I find it hard to say Miami's going to lose this game. I mean, they're a heavy favorite for a reason by people who know way more than me, meaning some guy who sits in a room in Vegas and is forced to make major decisions that are, influence millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars every week. So who am I to say that Miami is not going to cover? I don't think they're going to cover, but I do think they're going to win. And that's all they need to do. They just need to eke it out. Just win.
All right, and with that, we'll let you go cook your turkey, and we'll.
I'm having dressing, salad dressing. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. You got to make some dressing to go with it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Thanks for being part of the show. All right, guys, I'm going to spend a few minutes here and just talk a little bit about some of these comments you guys have been posting in the chat during the show. Showboy Kane says it's going to hurt Emory if Dawson leaves for a head coaching job. All right. Number one, I don't think Dawson's leaving for a head coaching job. I don't think he's going to get a head coaching job. I think Dawson most likely will be the offensive coordinator at Miami next year. Emory is very highly valued in this program. I think that he will be treated like he's highly valued in this program. But it would be malpractice, okay, by the coaches to just close their eyes and not pay attention to what quarterbacks go in the portal. And, Mr. Trill 256 says the quarterback from Virginia Tech would be the best quarterback. I've actually heard some whispers that kid might be interested in coming to Miami. He sees what Cam Ward's doing this year. Is he better than Emory? Nobody has a clue. And I don't see any harm in bringing a kid like that into the program. Let him and Emory go toe-to-toe in spring ball and see who's better. And that's what I think will happen. I don't know if it'll be this particular quarterback from Virginia Tech, but I don't see how they don't bring in a quarterback from the portal. You're going into next season with Emory, who's played a couple games his freshman year, Judd Anderson, who's a freshman who has not played a second, and Luke Nickel, who's in high school right now. He'll be here in January. You can't go into a college football season with three young quarterbacks like that. So I think they will do something. What that will be, we don't know yet, but hopefully Emory is up for the competition, and he's as great a kid as there is in the world, and he's got great character, and he works exceptionally hard. And listen, I think he'll give it an A+ effort, no matter who they bring in to compete with them. And it shouldn't be preordained. I mean, it should be a real competition. We'll see what happens. Obviously a kid that's played, a full year of college football, 2 full years of college football, is going to have a little bit of an edge on Emory. But, if a kid comes in that's better than Emory, then Emory has to accept that and, just keep going, man. He still has 3 years of eligibility left here. He can go one more cycle here and not hurt himself at all. So we'll see what happens. Either way, hopefully you have a really good quarterback on the team next year. Greg Harlan points out Miami's losing 14 starters plus the place kicker. A lot of players that are going to need to be replaced on this team. This last week of recruiting is obviously really, really important. And then the portal will open up, and that will be equally important. And it's going to be quite a ride here the next few weeks while we're hopefully getting ready for the ACC championship game, getting ready to play in the college football playoff, hopefully. And then you're going to have all this action going on the side. I mean, if you're a junkie, get ready to overdose, man. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I hope everybody watching here is a subscriber to CaneSport.com. Right now, we're going to be covering all this stuff blow by blow every step of the way. If you're not, get on over, get a subscription. We will have a special going up on the website. You'll get your first week for $1, so you can try it out. We got a great community of fans. A lot of the guys that you see on this show. There is no better time than right now to come join the CaneSport family and be a subscriber at CaneSport.com. All right, let's see what this one is. Richard Jackson said you can't have 3 top recruiting classes and then presume the team won't be good. I assume he's talking about next year. It's not. I wish it was as easy as that, but it isn't. I mean, you're dealing with variables, player development, how fast guys develop, how well they're picking up systems, how ready they are to play college football. You're losing an enormous number of starters. You're going to have guys that are going to go in the transfer portal because somebody's going to offer them a lot of money, or they're going to feel like they can get a better opportunity somewhere else. So as we sit here today, we don't have a clue what next year's team is going to look like. So I don't think you could assume anything. Yes, they've recruited pretty well. 2024, to my eye, is trending better than even 2023. 2023 was okay. But remember, there were 3 classes before that were not very good. So Mario's bringing this thing from a real dark place, and it's put a lot of pressure on the organization, on their evaluations. And they're going to have to do it again here, because I think they're going to sign probably 23 to 25 kids on signing day, December the 4th. And I think they'll bring in at least another 10 from the portal. So I guess that would be 35. I've been saying 40, but there will be at least 35 new players on this team next year. All right. JR Bar 2015. So Guidry's only good against teams that can't pass. That's not what anybody was saying. He has not looked, Lance Guidry's defense is what we saw last year. A lot of blitzing, a lot of stunting, a lot of disguising rushes and bringing guys from different angles, corner blitzes, safety blitzes, using his safeties a lot to be a disruptive force on defense. I'm not sure we've seen that anywhere close to that degree this year, and I understand why. I mean, you think about the defense. So, you had new guys coming in. Ruben Bain was out very early in the Gator game. He's probably not in prime shape, has gained a little weight, not as effective as a defensive end, in my opinion, as he was last year. I think he's going to grow into a tackle. Mesidor was playing inside. Barron was underachieving. Kiko Mainoa's having a much worse year this year than he had last year. But remember, he had surgery in the offseason for his labrum. His arm, his strength, probably wasn't quite there. He hasn't been as good this year as he was last year. Guidry, and remember, Guidry's processing all this stuff, okay? Your secondary, you're playing a slow safety in Mish Powell. You brought him in for his experience, but he's a slow safety. Jaden Harris has not been playing very well. You're not great at cornerback. Everybody pretty much accepted that cornerback was the most challenged position on the team coming in. So Lance Guidry is trying to field the defense, taking all of this into consideration this entire season. And I understandably didn't think that he was being able to coach and felt confident coaching like Lance Guidry coaches defense. All right. Well, last week, you're playing a Wake Forest team that totally shut down the passing game after the first quarter. They didn't even try to throw the ball. I don't think they had a passing yard in the second or third quarter, if I'm remembering correctly. It was something pretty close to that, if not that. Okay. They didn't even try to throw the ball. They were running it on third down, running it on fourth down. And Lance Guidry didn't have to be afraid of their passing game. And he started getting more active in disrupting their offense. And he wasn't going to let them run the ball down their throats. And I mean, I asked him about it. I said, Lance, it was like Lance Guidry was back last week and got a little ornery, when I asked him that question. But I think it really was the case. Now, how does that carry over to Syracuse? Hopefully it does carry over to Syracuse, because like we've talked about tonight, this is a quarterback that'll go to his first read most of the time. Okay, and if they could take away that first read and pressure him into mistakes, he will turn the football over. He will make mistakes. And Pittsburgh was extremely successful in doing that. I expect Miami to incorporate a lot of those same concepts, and we'll see what happens. 818 Cali Kane says, we ain't losing Stubbs. I kind of agree with you. I think Miami will do whatever it has to do to win out there. But make no mistake, the Gators are disrupting recruiting. They're taking shots with a lot of guys, figuring they'll either improve their own recruiting class or they'll make other people spend more money in certain areas, which makes it tough for them in others. So that will definitely be one to watch here as we move forward. All right, I think that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We won't be taking a whole lot of time off for turkey. We'll have a lot of coverage here on recruiting this week, obviously on the game leading up to the weekend. And then it's real quick, man, signing day is going to be coming. Hopefully we're going to be getting ready to go to Charlotte next week. So a lot going on. And like I said, come on over to CaneSport.com if you're not already a subscriber. We would love to have you. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thanks again. Great seeing everybody tonight who came on. And we'll be back with this show next week. Tomorrow night at 8, the Lamar Thomas Show. Have a great night, everybody.